One of my biggest fears as an Xbox fan is that, Xbox is going to end up being so irrelevant that developers don't want to take advantage of it, which means that we would get really bad versions of Xbox games and things like that, which is something that I don't think any of us wants. Could you imagine? It's rough enough because Xbox Series X, from a technical standpoint, was more powerful and should have been noticeably more powerful than the PlayStation 5, and yet most games were, you could say it was 50-50, or, where maybe it was a little bit more than 50% were actually better on PlayStation, and then you had 30% probably better where it was just kind of even, and then maybe 20% where it was slightly better on Series X, where it should have been 100%, right? So the reason why you have that is because developers will use the PlayStation as the lead platform, and the reason they do that is because it sells better. So could you imagine in a world where Microsoft is not in a worldwide kind of stratosphere of selling the platform, a place where you can really pretty much only buy it online, that isn't allowing physical discs. I mean, I know people go, well, physical is dying, but there's still millions of people that buy physical. You cut that out, and you're cutting out the potentiality of millions of people buying your platform. So, again, you have a very bad situation coming in when it comes to Xbox. And the other thing is, some games, maybe not the big, large games like GTA or whatever, but you could have some games, popular games, that skip the platform because of this. So I want to get into this. Xbox fans are left behind again as a massively trending game skips the platform completely. The hottest release of the season never made Xbox a priority, which is leaving players frustrated and sidelined. As reported earlier, the developers behind this game called Absolum have explained why the game skipped Xbox at launch. Despite having released titles on Xbox before, the team addressed the absence directly on its Discord server. Absolum is currently performing strongly and has received well by critics, with an impressive 86 on Metacritic from 34 reviews. With the game launching on PS4, PS5, PC, Nintendo Switch, many Xbox fans have been left wondering why Microsoft's platform was left out. Let's take a closer look at what developers had to say and why Xbox wasn't a priority for an otherwise highly praised release. So again, let's just think about this for a second. The PS4 was more of a priority than the Xbox. I mean, isn't that really just a kind of tells you all you need to know situation? I mean, it is one of those things where you kind of shake your head a bit, and that's unfortunate, because I think as Xbox fans, we deserve the games. We deserve games. If they're going to do something that offers us the ability to play or whatever the case may be, I like the fact that we can play some of these games, and that we're getting it'd be nice to get all the same games that PlayStation does, especially from third parties. It's crazy to think that third party games skip Xbox. I mean, that to me is insane. But if you didn't know, Absolum is a roguelike beat-em-up that blends classic side-scrolling brawler combat with modern progression systems. It takes inspirations from the likes of Streets of Rage while introducing its own fresh twists and roguelike structure. Developed by Dotemu, the studio behind Streets of Rage 4 and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which are two really good games, by the way. Shredder's Revenge in particular, just absolutely phenomenal game. Absolum was created in collaborations with Guard Crush Games and Super Monk Studios, the team that helped bring those titles to life on Xbox. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is also listed under their publishing banner as noted. The game launched on PlayStation 4, PS5, Nintendo Switch in October, so earlier this month, quickly breaking into the top 15 sellers on Steam. Critics have praised it for its tight, satisfying combat and strong presentation. What stood out the most, though, is that the game supports two-player co-op, both locally and online, something obviously people wish more games of the genre would do. As a longtime fan of Castle Crashers, this is exactly the kind of feature that keeps people coming back to a good old beat-em-up, enjoying it with new friends. So, here's the thing, right? I can remember when I first got an Xbox 360 and people were talking up this game, Castle Crashers. Man, you got to get Castle Crashers. I'm like, what are Castle Crashers, you know? So you get it, and it's just one of those games where you play it with your friends, and that's, you know, amazing. So yeah, it is unfortunate that these games are skipping Xbox. I mean, even after all this time, you know, and people will pretend like it's not a big deal, but, you know, for me anyway, it feels like it could continue to get worse, and, you know, things could continue to kind of spiral out of control for Xbox, you know, if that were to happen. So that would be interesting to see how this kind of happens. You know, that's, and anyway, from my perspective. In their Discord server, the community manager spoke about the game's release, or Xbox, or lack thereof. The team behind Absolum are about as small as our in-game resistance movements because of the team size. As with all similar titles, we have to prioritize here and there. It's pretty rare for us to release on every platform, and in this case, Xbox just wasn't a priority, and it's not in our plans for this title. Somebody had asked, "Hey Willie, the team behind Absolum are about..." Yeah. So anyway, again, these comments were made just a few days ago, and can confirm that Xbox version isn't currently being considered. He says, "Hey there, Xbox platform, we're currently looking to release for Absolum," and he's saying no. Disappointing news for them. Yeah, so could an Xbox version still happen? The door is likely never fully closed. They have performed well across platforms. The team, the resources need to make an Xbox version to happen. As a small development team, that kind of growth could make all the difference. It's clear that an incredible amount of work went into creating the game. A recent interview highlights the challenges behind its designs. The game's art director explaining the importance of visual clarity, saying, quote, "We had to be careful because there are a lot of enemies, special effects, but also rich environments. We had to find a way to create several layers of readability. The player has to be able to see the anticipation frames and see significant difference in the next move. The silhouette of the character moving forward, up, down, had to be the clearest we could be. We animated the characters as we usually do in an animated show or movie. Everything was hand-drawn, no puppet or CG. Going back to an animation that needed modification, was very redrawing everything from the start, and in style the process made quite heavy." So this level of thoughtfulness shows how much care went to the game. Xbox fans miss out again. The studio's passion and attention to detail are evident. So again, the game's success on other platforms will give the team a reason to consider Xbox in the future, and if it happens, hopefully it does arrive sooner rather than later. But again, the game's been looking good. Apparently a lot of people are playing it, or whatever the case may be. But you look into it and it's like, okay, well, no Xbox version, you know, and I think that is a major problem when you have games skipping Xbox. And I get it, the team's small, but, you know, they do, you know, PS4, you know, they do Switch, but no Xbox. It's just, I don't know, kind of a little bit crazy to me that this kind of stuff happens. And when you see Xbox kind of being left out, it sort of, you know, makes it kind of, I guess, envious. And that's where we kind of see things kind of switch up, is that Microsoft, or they probably don't even care, you know. That's one of the things that people kind of talk about in general, that, you know, Xbox just doesn't seem to care anymore about, you know, what's going on, and, you know, and how they kind of do these things, you know. So again, we'll have to see. You know, I hope that Microsoft can get their act together. I would love to see that happen. I would love to see Microsoft be able to work something out where, you know, gamers can have a chance to be happy and get all the same games. It's like, it's so weird to me in a world where now Microsoft is putting their games on PlayStation, right? Like, you still have to worry about Xbox not getting games that everybody else does. So, you know, again, it's just insane to me that Microsoft is okay with this, and I hope that they kind of change that before too long, because it's not a proper way of thinking, you know. And it's also like one of those things where it doesn't seem like a proper way of thinking to me to leave Xbox, you know, in a situation where, you know, hey, you kind of want to see where maybe Xbox is kind of screwed or whatever, you know. It's just it's super unfortunate. I hope, and I have my fingers crossed that things will kind of get better, you know. That's something that I hope that gets better before too long. I just honestly, I do, you know, I hope that it kind of gets somewhat better, and that Microsoft can work this stuff out, because gamers deserve it. Listen, I'm pro Xbox, so if you're an Xbox fan, I want you guys to understand how things are, right? Like why does this happen? Why do we not get these games? Everybody else gets them, and yet we're giving away all the Xbox games to everybody. So you have PlayStation getting Xbox games, PlayStation games, and games that aren't even that are third party, but they're still basically stuff that aren't coming to Xbox. It makes Xbox even less likely of a destination for people. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. I'll link this. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.